Quinn and coaching and the ups and downs and everything, but is, like I said, what you're saying is the roster, and not only that, but the future. And actually, finally getting to see Miller on the ice there. And obviously, like I said, you see Foxy, and maybe we'll get your take a little bit here. He got nixed on the Calder nomination, but it's just the future. It's down the road. So, me and you getting back, talking about this team this year, this team kind of, getting the fan base back, Mika, Panarin, just so much fun, the goaltending, obviously, and all that stuff, the big signings. And here we are now. We get a little bit of break in a weird kind of situation. And we said this is for all the teams. But as far as our Ranger team, I know we can speak for probably everybody, all the fans, just to see these guys on the ice again and then be reminded of the camaraderie that these young guys had. And what you just said, too, about, joking around, Miller and Foxy 7-8 years down the road. I mean, this is the potential that this team has with a lot of the young guys grown from, the letter, the changeover, the picks, getting rid of the dead weight here over the last couple of years and switching over and kind of it flips back here with Alain Vigneault getting and Torts here. Look, I mean, both of those guys, right, nominated for the Jack Adams, and these are the guys who pretty much were coaching us the last, how many years it was. And we get reminded again, but it's almost like it's a trade-off for all of us now following this new team behind Quinn, JD coming in, Gorton. So it's really exciting. And as much as we joke about this and that, and it is serious about COVID and so on and so forth, but I think in its simplest form, man, just seeing these guys on the ice, and again, and even looking beyond this tournament, and looking beyond, who knows what the future is going to look like for just sports everywhere and just life in general. But as far as New York Rangers, and we've said this over and over again, it looks so good. The future just looks so good, and all the numbers and the CBA and the salary cap, all that stuff will work out, and the Seattle expansion and the goaltending situation. One way or the other, KD, the Rangers are going to end up just. It's all going to be positive here. They can't lose, because even the guys that we were talking about, like a guy like Strome or Fast moving on, and we love those guys, but they can be replaced. So the Rangers here are pretty much in a win-win, one way or the other. You joke about it too, Tank, go for the draft pick. We can't lose, right? So even if we lose, we can't lose. And the Rangers making the playoffs and actually being a part of this tournament, KD, is gravy in the first place. They weren't supposed to get a sniff.
Yeah, and ultimately it's going to be great for the young players. And we talked about that a lot this year on the podcast about, just get these guys in the playoffs. Even if it's just a round, even if they're swept in 4 games, getting guys like Fox and Howden and Kakko, Lindgren, just around in the playoffs, just being in that atmosphere. Although they're not really going to get the playoff atmosphere when they're playing in an empty arena. I'm assuming they are going to feel some type of pressure, crowd or no crowd, as far as, a playoff feeling. So I think I agree. I mean, it's just gravy at this point. They made it into this, play-in tournament thing where it's a do or die here, and a little bit more pressure on the young guys, and see how they react to it. And again, hopefully this will be something that they won't have to experience ever again in an empty arena. But playoff games nonetheless. I'm excited. I know everybody else is excited to get going. And yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to play through, even if they maybe get started. I just don't see it happening. But I could separate it for now just to get some type of distraction, because we need it. I mean, I think everybody needs it. I've been very happy, like you said, they'll go through my Twitter timeline and see Ranger stuff instead of people just arguing about who's wearing a mask and who's not. So it's good to see some other things out there. I think, I needed it, you needed it, the country, needs it, a little bit of a distraction from everything else going on. So it's been good. It's why I'm able to separate it, because you just need to. I mean, you can't just dwell on this stuff all the time. It's just not good for your mental well-being here. So, yeah, it's good to be talking about hockey again.
Yeah,
Real
absolutely.
hockey, real Ranger stuff. Like, again, the lineup. What does the lineup look like? Who should be playing in goal? Is it Shosturkin? Is it Lundqvist? Is it? Well, it's definitely not Georgiev. But
Come on.
and I'm gonna every show I'm just gonna say that. Well, it's not Georgiev.
So look,
Um,
have you looked up and down the training camp roster? And obviously, there's a couple of names that weren't with these guys here at the end. What's your take on and some of these guys that are in here right now? And I'm not up to par. I mean, I know Miller can't play in the tournament, but O'Regan's in here. I mean, Gettinger's in there. Fogel.
yeah, I mean, even the younger guys that they brought up,
Radish.
unless I have no problem with any of the guys that they have out there. It seems as though most of them, are deserving of being up with the team. It's just a matter of if somebody ends up, getting sick, if it ends up hitting the team, I don't know if it'll matter if Letary is in there or O'Regan is in there if Panarin is the guy who goes down.
Right.
So these guys, yeah, it's great, and they're on the roster and they get to practice with the big squad. Ultimately, I don't think it matters. I mean, they're just like placeholders because, again, if the Rangers lose like a couple of guys to COVID or they test positive, and again, it's Panarin and Zibanejad. I don't care who they have coming in. They're done. So it's I like having Kravtsov there where he gets to hang out with Panarin and learn to see what he's doing. Although I read some reports that he's been a little underwhelming in the camp. I mean, it's only been a couple of days old. I mean, long. So I don't know how much of a chance he's had at this point. But I think just being there the same way Miller is, and they could sort of take it all in. I think is a good thing for the organization and for their development. So, to me, the two biggest things that jump out at me on the roster is just Miller and Kravtsov and the young guys, and hopefully they take a lot from the experience. Even though, unless like the entire team goes down, Kravtsov probably isn't getting in there, and like you had mentioned, Miller isn't eligible too. So, but I like the idea of having the two of them in camp, just hanging out and being with the team, building a rapport with them, and having them ready to go once the next season finally gets going, whenever that's going to be.
All right. Good vibes.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, look, I'm not going to sit here and give you like a scouting report on Fogarty because I tell you how many Wolfpack games I watched last year. It was called 0. So I'm not going to sit here and present myself as some type of Wolfpack expert on O'Regan. And I barely know the guy's first name.
What
Was
about
it Danny?
What about Adam
Danny,
Huska,
I
man?
got it. Yeah,
what about Huska, man? And Nets? Are we going to give him a shot or what?
Yeah, why not? We're giving everybody else a shot. Hey, look, but if he does do well, I mean, that could be is definitely the end of Georgiev.
He should start against the Islanders.
That's right. Let's see what he's got. I tell you, Huska came in somehow, some way, and played well. That'd be the end of both Lundqvist and Georgiev. There'd be a trade and a buyout.
Again, like I said earlier, man, Rangers can't lose. Can't lose on any of these possibilities, man. It's good stuff. Yeah, so I mean, we have to wait till then. Obviously, I mean, as far as seeing where this thing's, which it's going to be a trip, man. I mean, here it is. It's what? It's going to be what? Another week, 2? Well, what do we got left here? Sorry, it's the 16th, so yeah, so it'll be almost two full weeks until that exhibition game, and then things go for real on August 1st. And a lot can happen in 3 weeks, obviously, and just hopefully all our guys stay healthy and on and off the ice, and we'll just keep soaking in these reports from training camp.
Yeah, I think Quinn was tipping his hand a little bit as far as the goaltending goes, because he was mentioning that, it's not just about camp, similar to what he was saying that this isn't a training camp type thing for the rest of the lineup. He did say as far as the goaltenders go, it's going to be based on regular season performance as well. It's not just going to be what, if Lundqvist comes in and kills it in camp and is better than Shesterkin, he's automatically getting it. So I don't know if that's him sort of tipping his hand to, Shesterkin has maybe the lead here, because I don't necessarily know that Lundqvist had a great regular season where Shesterkin definitely did. So again, I've been saying since we've been talking about this that I think Shesterkin ends up getting the starting nod. And then Lundqvist is the backup, because what you get with Lundqvist. That if Shesterkin falters for whatever reason, you're bringing in a veteran who's been there. And I think that's probably the best way to go, because if Lundqvist goes in there and bombs, and now you got to bring in a rookie, who knows where his head is at, that he lost the position to Lundqvist. So, I think starting with Shesterkin is probably the way to go, and the way Quinn will look to start the playing round.
Well, outside of the talents of these three guys, and that's Georgie and Shesty and Hank, mentally they're just three bright, very stoic kind of guys. I mean, Hank can be emotional, obviously, which is great. We haven't been able to really see Shesty in a slump. He had that one bad night in his run. Georgiev obviously we've probably seen a little more of him in terms of he was very controlled there for a while. In that Edmonton game, he kind of lost his cool, deservedly so, with the way the team was playing, that night. But I'd have to say, I guess the reason I'm bringing this up is, if any of them has some difficulty here, and I think this is just an incredible challenge here for all the coaches, for all the teams, outside of, the teams that definitely have a clear-cut number one, and that's it. You're going to ride him until he gets hurt. Doesn't matter. He's got the gig, so on and so forth. So, like, for the guys like, Quinn here at the Rangers, those couple of different scenarios that you talked about before, it's I think he's got the guys not only in the talent, but if a guy like I don't see a guy like Shesty, I don't think he's going to lose it. Hank's been through so much. He's seen so much rubber. You can't throw anything new at Hank. I mean, and outside of winning a Stanley Cup, he's won everything else. He's won a gold medal. He's won World Cup, all that stuff. And so I mean, he's a champ. He's seen it. He's seen the tournament play. He's won in all that aspect. The only thing he hasn't won is a Stanley Cup championship, and he got close. Shesty and Georgiev, they really have nothing to lose, and especially with Shesty. And I think we've already seen it in terms of his composure, how he handles himself, and just these guys come prepared. I've always said that Georgiev reminds me a lot of Richter in terms of his attention to detail, the way he sets himself in the net. He's just incredibly fit. He's incredibly agile. And Shesty brings that too. So you've got these just very disciplined. They're very mature for their age when it comes to Shesty and Georgie, and balance that up against Hank, who we know, love, and he's proven. And he also proved as far as off the ice, working with the organization this year, seeing that these young guys came in, he didn't cause a lot of trouble. He's as competitive. He wants to be in there. He wants that number one spot. And I know I'm pulling for Hank. I would love it if he won the number one spot. And like I said, if he does, what do you do in a short series? Do you pull the trigger? I mean, these guys haven't played. The schedule is something they've never seen before. These afternoon games back to back. It's going to be so different and so weird. Circling back, though, the Rangers probably have the best, group of guys as far as your starter and your bullpen guys. Who else in the league has what the Rangers have? And not only their talents, but what they got upstairs, their maturity, their commitment and dedication to the team, and also their camaraderie that they have the team. And the team also proved this year, I guess it didn't really matter sometimes because the shots against were ridiculous. The guys went out there in front of them like, well, you look behind us, whether it's Georgie, Shester, or Hank, hey, we got it good, and they'll let up 45 shots a game, and so it's no big deal. But they've also, like I said, these guys in front of them all play confidently in front of. It doesn't matter who the Rangers have in goal. That